Yo, welcome back to the channel, Uncontrolled Substance TV, brought to you by Black Lens Digital. Yes, holla at them for your digital needs, whether it be wedding ceremonies, prom send-offs, graduations. They the guys that can get it done for you. Link in the description. Anyway, I'm your host, Joe Pro 973 with Uncontrolled Substance TV, and I got a very, very, very special guest today, Brick City. We got my boy, Saladin Newark.
Yeah, what up, man?
Yo, what's going on with you, man? That's what's up. That's what's up.
Happy to be here, bro.
Hey, man, it's been a long time coming. We've been trying to put something together, but I'm finally glad that we was able to link up and make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a long time coming, like you said.
Yeah.
And I mean, we go back, we talk about the history as we go on, but yes, sir.
1,000%. And I know that you got a prior, engagement to get to, and I don't want to keep you here too long, but I do want to kind of start off with a little bit of like your history, like, you know what I mean, growing up in Newark. What was some of your earliest memories?
Some of my earliest memories growing up in Newark, I mean, so I don't know, man. I feel like when I talk to my younger brothers and I explain to them like certain things, because they're about 5 years younger than me, right?
Okay.
I be trying to tell them about certain places that we lived, and people are shocked when I tell them I feel like I could remember when I was like 4 years old and stuff like that. So Fifth Street, we used to live on Fifth Street and 6th Avenue. That's like if I had to go back to my earliest memory of a place, that would be that place. Like back then, you know what I mean? TV used to go off. Like at a certain time, you would just see lines in the TV, man.
Absolutely.
Having a color TV was a big deal too still, so you're probably talking about 78.
Okay, 78. Okay, yeah.
Right?
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And so during that era, like, how was your household coming up? And, what was like a young Sal into? Like, what did a young Sal like to do?
Yo, so if you go back, I mean, like moving from there to Ivy Hill to Norwood Street.
Okay.
Around this time, man, this is what me as a young boy, I would like to go outside and pretend to be the Incredible Hulk. Me and my cousin Ibn, we would watch like the Dukes of Hazzard was on television at the time, the Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
The Chinese flicks, the karate movies, man. And that's how we would spend most of our days, like really carefree, just going outside, having fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like around, I guess, 9 or maybe 8, 9, or 10, we moved to Cedar Avenue in Newark, on 118 Cedar Avenue, right there on the corner of Tremont and Cedar.
Okay.
And in that apartment, I didn't have a TV in the room. I had this organ and I had a whole like library. My mother had designed this whole library. And in that time, I don't know, but I like to, I even credit my mother with kind of introducing me into a level of creativity because I didn't have anything to do.
Okay.
So it was like I'm playing on the organ, you know what I mean? Or I'm reading a book, you know what I'm saying? And learning songs and stuff because we had this one book that was all songs like Christmas carols and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I forgot the name of that book, but that's where I learned one of the first songs that was funny that I learned because I kind of knew I learned how to read it before I knew how to read music or anything. I just knew that the melody was deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. So I hadn't heard the song.
Exactly.
So now I'm reading it and I'm seeing what's happening with the musical notes. I mean, that was just that. I give her. Like my family, my father, my mother, I give them credit.
A lot of credit for introducing you to that musical side.
Yeah, because I'm just in that motherfucker with nothing going on.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So that's when you kind of like develop your love for music and composing and things of that nature. Okay.
I didn't know it at the time, like what was happening, but when I think about the fact that was happening in my life at that time and around the same time, you got Beat Street coming out, which was like my first.
Oh, the introduction to breakdancing,
all of that,
painting,
soundtracks. I mean, the first time having a soundtrack, like listening to, you know what I mean, like Breaking and other movies came out around that same time too. I can't remember what was first, but Wild Style was probably first. But man, around the time Beat Street had came out, so now I'm in there, playing those little tunes like Sheila E. Dun, 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 you know,
okay,
that people taught us, right?
Exactly, yeah. That's
so,
fly.
you know, and then when I look back now, I say, yo, maybe that really had a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? Me being into that, you know?
Absolutely. And so from the musical aspect, it was just like you was absorbing so much. So when did you try to like create your own first little piece of something?
So the funny thing is this, right, Hood? Me, this brother named, we was kids.
Okay.
We used to go to this camp, Velsburg camp. Like I said, we was living on Cedar Ave. All of it happened around that time, man.
Okay.
Cedar Avenue so we used to do concerts, make mock concerts in the backyard. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We would do Run DMC. It was mostly Run DMC, but
Mostly
we would
Run
do
DMC?
LL sometimes
Okay.
too. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, we would sit back there and, you know, we would be doing all their rhymes, you know what I mean? And people from the neighborhood, you know, they would come back. Because this is back, like I'm just saying, we used to be outside collecting ants. This is how far back it was. Like, we collecting insects and all of that in the backyard. Worms
Yeah, so you done made an ant farm.
Yeah, all of
you
this.
trying to make this ant fight that ant. Like,
putting them in a spider web, waiting for the spider to come out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
How that happened. You
so
know,
little
learning
destructive,
science.
little, yeah.
Yo, but we learning science. We
Yeah,
didn't
you
even
right.
know that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, this is what
yeah.
I mean about when I look back at it. I'm like, damn, like all of this stuff counted for something.
Exactly.
And we didn't understand it when it was happening. We just developing, we growing, and we having fun.
Yeah.
But it all ended up counting for something. Yeah, man. So that was like the
Absolutely.
first time when we started rhyming. Like, you know what I mean? We even had a name, and I can't think. It was me, JR, and this brother named Dorian.
Okay.
And yeah, man, and the kid named Mustafa from next door, man. So yeah, we used to just sit back there and
so that's
rap.
where you kind of feel like you got your stage presence in.
Maybe, yes.
Kind of like.
Yeah, I got to say yeah to that.
Yeah.
And that's just something I never thought about until just now. This is what I mean. Like, when we look back at it, I can say, yo, this did contribute to that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it's like the things that we go through, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, like you said, they shape us and they contribute to who we are and what we got going on today. So even if it was something that was bad that was going on back in the day, I wouldn't change that for anything because all of that built the resiliency in me to be who I am. So yeah, man, those memories and those things, they just basically shape us. Like we like clay when we come out.
Hey, bro, just speaking, like, you know, you talk about bad things. So just real quick, you know, this is just something else and how it shapes us, right? So, you know, I don't know if this attributes to like having trust issues or not, but I'll tell you this one story, two stories. On that same block, because a lot of my development, I think, came from that time, man. Like the 80s, it was like 83, 82, 84, like between Cedar Avenue and Central Avenue and Orange, right up the street. I used to live up the street too.
Okay.
But what happens is I'm at Cedar Ave, two dudes come by the street. But let me just tell you this. Hold on real quick. So one day I'm outside on the porch. You know, I used to sit on the porch or whatever. I'm like 8 years old, man.
Okay.
So these motherfuckers, these people come running from down the street, like the East Orange side. They're coming from like, what's that to go down there? That's like Rhode Island.
Exactly.
Coming from running down Rhode Island. And I see a dude running behind, it's like two dudes running behind one dude. And the one dude, he like out of breath, man. He by the time he gets to where I'm at, he out of breath.
Yeah.
He get past me. I look at him. He got 4 holes in him, dripping, like dripping blood.
Yeah.
Like word is born down his t-shirt. You know, it's back in the day too. Like so, he had like a Newport t-shirt, like maybe like a Fresh Fest or something.
Okay.
I don't know, but look,
like the green with the.
I'm telling you, this was vivid. So he runs by. He looked like he was in shape.
Yeah, got some weight on him.
Yeah, and these other two dudes come by with a pitchfork. They didn't stab. I only put it together that they must have had just stabbed this dude with that pitchfork.
Poked him up with the pitchfork
in his back. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
So I'm like,
talk about stab somebody in the back.
yo, and I'm a kid, so I'm just like, I don't know how I feel, but one of them must have dropped some money because as I'm sitting on the porch, I didn't even see it. The two guys that was chasing them, they come back and they picked the money up right from in front of my porch. It was a nice little knot. Picked it up, kept walking, and I'm like, damn, I didn't even see that. Like I'm sitting on the porch still amazed by the guy running down the street with the holes in his back. But same situation on the porch, you know, and that's something, that terminology, you know,
like
when you
on the
first come
porch or off the porch.
Yeah, so on the porch at night one time, these two guys come by. They say, yo, I'm just chilling, man. Like, I don't know what was on TV or whatever, but I'm, you know, come by. They say, yo, man, is this house on fire? And I'm just sitting there like, no. You know? Like, yo, I think this house on fire. And then they go back and they show me where the fire is at. Like, look, you know, take me to the alleyway and point down to the basement.
So it's literally the house that you living in?
Yeah. And they point to the basement like, look, man, your house on fire. Yo, go get your family out. Like, whatever. And the basement is blazing. Like, you know what I mean? You can look at it. So I run upstairs. I tell my mother, tell my father, you know, they get us all out, get us out the house. We sit there and we watch, you know, the fire department come and we watch as the house burns up, man. It all goes up, right? A lot of my mother's favorite pictures and a lot of, you know,
a lot of mementos, keepsakes, everything.
Yeah, go away, right? So within a month or two, what's discovered by the police and doing their investigation is that those two dudes actually started the fire. So there was a beef between the people upstairs and the landlord. I'm a kid.
Exactly.
I don't know all of that. But I found it out, you know, just from listening to my parents' conversation, my mom and all of them. And so, yeah, they ended up getting prosecuted for it. And like when so as we have these memories, when I look back, I kind of feel like they probably didn't want people to die. I don't know. I kind of feel like
that's what it seems like.
Yeah, something hit them like, yo.
Like they did something mischievous, but at the same time, it's like, yo, we ain't trying to catch no bodies.
Yeah, we ain't trying to catch no bodies, you know? So that's when he come by and say, yo, man, you sure this? Look at, and then he showed me the fire and said, yo, go get your family out. You know what I mean? Like, so that was like, you know, that little situation, I would sometimes wonder like what that did for trust.
But
you know
because that's what I was about to bring it back to. You said like that was something that literally kind of shaped how you view the world and people and trust and believing what somebody say. And I'm quite sure as a young man, and as you process and as you think back to it, it's like, man, these jokers, man, you know what I mean? Who can you trust? Like,
you know what I mean? Because I was praising them. I was so happy that somebody had told me, because I'm like, I'm outside, I don't know it's on fire.
Exactly.
I'm about to sit here watching my whole family burn up or whatever it was. So I'm thinking like, yo.
They saved us.
They
exactly.
Saved us. Like them two dudes. No, them two dudes.
Them was the ones that was actually behind it. And that's,
bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was ill. That was ill, bro.
I mean, that's a lesson for you.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you was able to take that and, you know, good or not, I think it's good to kind of have some reserve when you meet people, when you coming across people, because if you go in wholeheartedly and just put your trust blindly into a person, those are the people that genuinely get, you know what I mean, messed up. So
you can.
I do think that was a blessing for you to learn that at such an early
young
age.
Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even though it might make a person like cynical or something like that, but you know, that helps with your survival instincts.
Exactly, 100%. Like, yo, it does, because that doesn't leave you. That don't leave you, bro.
Exactly.
Like that don't leave you, bro. Even today, as I was waiting for you, I'm standing out there and I'm like, you know,
looking all around like.
Dude walked up, I guess, for shelter under the rain, and I'm like, oh man,
what is he about? Exactly. I mean, but you know what? I think a lot of that also comes with just living in a city life. You know what I mean? Because it's just so many characters, and you don't know what they into, so you gotta kind of be on point. Like it's like even if this was like back in the day in the caveman times, like they had that same instinct, but they was running from saber-toothed tigers and shit. You know what I mean? It's the fight or flight. Like you gotta really kind of like be on point, or else you won't make it out here. But yeah, that's a good story to tie everything in. But so like moving forward, so you was on Cedar and then you went to Central Avenue. What was your high school like?
Oh, high school was straight. I mean, so Cedar, Central, right? Went to Central Avenue, Orange. Learned a lot everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
I learned a lot everywhere.
You get pieces from every environment that you in.
Yeah, bro. Like, and one day I would love to sit down and talk about it. But anyway, once the house got remodeled on Cedar, we went back there in 1985. In 1985, my grandmother passed, and what happens is we got whatever it's called back then. You know, I don't think it was Section 8. I think it might have been like whatever the subsidy thing is.
Okay.
So we moved down to Broadway. This is not 1985.
So now you're in the North Newark area.
Now we in North Newark. That's where I ended up growing up, like my real developmental.
And this is pre 7:30 for all you young cats and everything that's out there now paying attention.
Yeah. So that's where I ended up going to high school from there because. You know, I had always went to Mount Vernon.
Okay.
Which is in Ivy Hill.
Shout out Mount Vernon. That's my alma mater.
Yeah. So even when we moved to Broadway, my mom continued to keep us there because she had this idea, this philosophy of not disturbing that kind of...
like your friend circle, your learning,
circle,
all of that stuff.
You know what I mean?
That's,
so she was like, nah, I'm going to just keep you there.
That was good, though.
So... Boom, 9th grade come, I go to Science High. That's the high school I end up going to.
Okay.
And I think high school was really fun, man. I mean, I really, really enjoyed high school. Like, no bullshit. Like, high school was dope. So, I mean, you know, and just keeping it real transparent, you know, in North Newark, I was introduced to the streets a little more than I had been prior to living there. Okay. North Newark on Broadway is where, you know, you would come out going to school or coming from school, you know, 5-0, you know what I mean? We call them 5-0. 5-0 back then, they got all the little young boys. So if I'm 10, 11, I'm talking about guys that's like 18, you know, 19. They got them all on the wall.
Hemmed all up.
I throw some names out there. I don't know if people remember cops like Mahoney, Marsucci, Postman. Like, these was the cops back then, you know what I mean?
Later on, Mahoney, he wound up being like the head of the train task force and all of that stuff.
One of the first incidents I'm talking about, man, we came out, Mahoney had a shotgun to a brother, Sean D. I remember this shit, man, because it was so ill. Like, we coming from school, I believe, and we pull up, and, you know, moms pull up. Long story short, they got all of them on the wall. You know what I mean? Got the shotty out there like, yo, you know, he talking mad shit to him. So, you know, the ill thing about it, though, as much as, like, you know, your parents are telling you, yo, you know, don't stay away from that, stay away from that, stay away from that. There's an attraction to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's this thing about validation that this is what I feel like, you know, this is the way I look at things now. Like, when I think about, like, some of the choices I made back then, there's this thing about validation, like, and wanting to be valid in your community, right? Wanting to be able to survive in that environment and feel, you know, you feel kind of like, you know, you've proven yourself. So I think of most of us, most of my friends at that time, we all had this desire to be like these older dudes, you know what I mean? Yeah. These was the only guys that we was really seeing. And I mean, even my father was like in and out, you know, in and out of the prison system. So he was home when he was home, but even when he was home, I was still seeing this kind of street shit. You know what I'm saying? So growing to high school, I guess around 14, maybe around 13. So I don't know, man. I'm not going to get too deep, but I will say some stuff. So maybe around 12 or 13, there's an incident that happens where my father ends up going to prison for some stuff that happened out in front of the building. And I go to high school, you know, with my pops in prison already. You know what I'm saying? So I'm out 14 years old. My mind, now I can look back and say, you know, that boy was struggling. Like, back then, it didn't seem like it. Just everybody's father was in prison. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's parents smoked weed, did a little, you know, whatever they did.
It isn't until we get older with the mature state of mind to look back and see, because it's all so natural. Everybody going through the same stuff.
Yep. So when I got to high school, I didn't know that I was battling or whatever, like different things in myself that, you know what I mean? Like, were making me, maybe I was looking for attention, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
I go to high school. I'm cool maybe that beginning of the first year or whatever, but now my friends are, you know, a little older. Like, I'm talking about from my building, they 15, 16. I'm 14, they 15, 16.
Okay.
Now they, you know, they just started hustling. You know what I'm saying? So I was introduced to it at that time, like as a kid. So now when I'm going to high school, a lot of times I have things, you know what I'm saying, that what kind of drives popularity, right? You coming in here with this on, with that on, You know what I mean? Your girlfriend got the Sherlin, you know, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that.
The earrings and all of this kind of stuff. So I was pretty popular in high school, you know what I mean? Playing basketball.
Okay, you had a little game to you.
So look,
Sal with the step back.
So here's the deal, right? Me and a couple of my friends, Al Raheem, man, I can't remember everybody, Nakia, a couple of us, we got on the varsity team as freshmen, first year, you know what I mean? As soon as we came in, we on the varsity
so you know you could ball once you know what I mean?
You might
as a
think
freshman.
like that, but check it out. So what I found out though, he was the coach, Mr. Gaylord, man. He was Milton Gaylord, really outstanding person.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Mr. Gaylord.
Yeah, bro. So he was like kind of like allowing us the experience so that we would develop as quickly as we possibly can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were good, and you know we was playing JV too though. So being on the basketball team. Oh, the point that I pointed that out is because as the streets became more important to me, basketball became less important.
So you took that step back.
Yeah. And even though I was still on the team and everything, but I wasn't passionate about that as much as I was passionate about
outside
being, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Being in whatever my friends
involved
was into.
going on, exactly, in the neighborhood and things of that nature.
So you could see the change that happened. Like I wasn't
shift.
really. And then I had my son at 14. You know what I mean? So, you know, here I am now, 14 years old, you know, hanging with the guys outside, got somebody pregnant.
Okay.
She had the child. So my sophomore year, I come in as a father. I'm going to high school now as a father, right? And I'm telling you, that changed the whole trajectory of my high school experience because everything became more serious for me. But it was serious, and I just didn't know. I didn't know I had options. You know, I limited my options to just, you gotta sell drugs. You
gotta get
hustle,
money. Gotta feed my kids.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And there were probably many other options available, man.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that at the time. You know what I mean? So my street involvement increased. Like I was outside.
Okay.
You know what I mean? For real. And that's how, you know, high school ended up going like that. I ended up, all my years, never ever went to summer school. I ended up going to summer school my 12th grade year.
Okay, just to finish, just to be able to finish.
Yeah, like never went to summer school. Dude staying back throughout my whole, first, second, third. Motherfucker staying back. I'm looking at him funny, like, you stay back.
Like bro, you ain't passed. Like,
hey, so motherfucking high school, I don't get to walk across the stage at graduation because summer school, because I'm telling you,
oh man, I know that must have. I can relate to that because I had a couple of little incidents like that myself where I wasn't able to participate in certain activities, and for me it was a little bit rough. I don't know how you took it. You probably just shrugged it off, but for me, it was like, damn, I can't even be out there with my peoples that I went through all of this school with. Yeah, it was kind of rough for me though.
Yeah, no, it was rough. I think it was rougher for like people who wanted success from me. Like one of my sisters, Francis, my man Rock Mom McCrary and shit. Like these are people that wanted me to do well. Yeah. So when they, like, because I went to the graduation. I came in. I'm supporting them and shit. And they out, like, I remember Francis, man. That's my sis, man. She was crying in the whole shit, like, feeling like, damn, like you supposed to be up here. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. But again, another life lesson, and I might have not processed it at the time, but eventually I started to understand how all of these things like shaped the direction that I landed in. When I really landed at a bad space, I understood how it all got me there, Yeah.
And I don't want to fast forward with your story, but it is kind of it's a beautiful thing that you was able to get out there and kind of, bump your head a little bit and make your mistakes, and I hope I'm not assuming too much, but it didn't get too crazy for you that you wasn't able to bounce back, because a lot of times some of our peers, they're not able to reel it back in. Yeah. But I guess I wouldn't say unscathed, but you made it through, your record intact, your name intact, you ain't lose no limbs, what I mean?
But when there's something else, because even when I got that text and, talked about being unscathed. I don't, how a person becomes, or everybody suffers. Everybody suffers from that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you just said, some people have lost a limb. Some people done went to prison. Some people have done this, that, and the third. The mental shit that happens too is maybe equally damaging, right? Because I ended up, you're talking about a time in the 90s where the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, is drinking 40s and, smoking weed. This is what we did, like, regularly. A lot of us walked out with habits that turned into other habits.
Much
that
deeper
got
things.
ugly habits, right? A lot of us, lost the capacity to handle life. You know what I mean? Like, whether it was drinking, drugging, or whatever. So I'll tell you a couple funny stories, though. My first time being arrested, going to the youth house, I was like, actually about 15, man.
Okay.
All of this shit started happening around then. So you remember, bro, we used to go uptown, we used to call it going over. Yo, I'm about to go over, about to flip, about to re-up, whatever. Went uptown, I don't know, back this time, I think it was like 159th and Broadway. Or
Okay.
Maybe, you know what I mean? Something like that, Amsterdam.
Got you.
Go uptown, pick, get what we get. You know what I mean?
That's to hop off on St. Nick and 145th.
Yeah, bro. That's when I was getting off of on St. Nick and 145, we was doing weed. I mean, we was getting, herb or whatever, And but anyway, this time, man, we was, picking up, you know what I mean? So I'm coming back from Penn Station, and police drive by, 50 drive by, and they go by this way while I'm walking. Then the dudes make a U, and then they make another U. Now they coming back to me again.
Okay.
Boom. Caught up with the bro. Found a little empties or whatever. Said, yo, what's this? I said, man, I sell oil, man. I'm about to go put my oils together, man. Y'all really stopping me. Like, I wasn't that cool, man, because I was nervous as a motherfucker.
Okay.
So anyway, man, ended up going to the youth house because they found whatever I had. And the funny thing about that, man, went to the youth house, and I'm sitting at the breakfast table. I remember this, man, dude. And I be telling my kids, I be telling my friends. Of course, my friends back then, I was acting too tough. But here's the real deal, dude at the table, like looking at. I had the brand new Jordans on. I'm telling you, man, I'm outside.
He was sharp.
Yeah, so I got the brand new Jordans.
My boy was lit.
Yeah, I don't think because they wasn't taking your sneakers at this time. This is the old youth house, the one that looked like Castle Grayskull.
Yeah.
Man. When you go in that motherfucker, they yelling, send him up here. I remember how nervous I was, bro. So anyway, dude, like, we eating at the table. He like, yo, I see you keep looking at my sneakers and shit. And I remember like, yo, I'm trying to say something. I'm trying to muster up the words because I'm like, oh my God.
Exactly.
This nigga working out. You can tell.
Oh, strong, young, burly Joker.
I said, yo, man. In my mind, I thought it probably was coming out a lot better, but I'm like, this nigga looking at my sneakers. That shit came out like, why he keep looking at my sneakers? Hey,
oh man, not Timmy.
Yo, word is more like, yo.
Oh,
I said,
man.
yo, wait till the boys hear about this.
Yeah.
You was in here. So anyway, I'm gonna make it real quick, man. I can elaborate on this stuff later. Dude end up, yo, I'm looking at your sneakers. I'm trying to see if they can fit me. And I'm like, man, they can't fit you. It's not your size.
These ain't your size, man. Come on, man.
So now he says something else, and I said, now it's like he said something that was like, yo, what? Or whatever. And it's like, you gotta respond.
Now it's at that point now. Yeah. It's not a talking situation.
Yeah. So I'm like, nigga, whatever. You know what I mean? So at this time they had a swimming pool out there at the youth house, and I remember they was over. All of them was at the swimming pool. I'm sitting up there waiting for court because this is, I should be going to court.
Yeah.
I'm like, bet. So they come call me. Boom. Bet. I'm out of here. This is what I'm thinking. Like, man, I go to court, man. My mother come. I'm out of here. Went to court. I'm sitting there. I'm like, See my mother, because back then, you know, like, see, and when you get older, you start looking at shit a little differently, right? Because we know about the slave trade and everything like this. And then when you start seeing the similarities now, back then, they used to bring you to court, like, straight through the courthouse, the old courthouse, where they, you know, on the left-hand side, I'm talking about, like, you know how, and they would bring you there, and all of the parents are sitting out there waiting. You know what I mean? To enter the courtroom. Nobody enters the courtroom.
Exactly.
So you kind of shackled with a whole bunch of dudes.
Chain gang type.
Yeah, word up. And you walking past everybody. Your parent, their parents, everybody's parent. And I remember seeing my mother, and I'm like, bet. Go in. Judge called me, call her, whatever. And she said, no, Your Honor, I'm not going to pick him up. He can stay. He want to participate in this kind of shit. He can stay there, and whatever. So I was in disbelief because I'm like, Mom, do you know them niggas want my sneakers? Are you serious? What do you mean? Yo.
This is life or death, Mom. Like, please.
Yo, so hood, I ended up going back to the joint.
Yeah.
Go back to the joint. I ended up, I don't know where this guy was from. One of the guys got cool with me, man. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if he had any negative intentions or whatever, but he ended up getting cool with me, and things just kind of simmered down. Whether it was going to go there again or not, I don't know. I never got to find out because maybe about 4 days later, they called me and put me out of there. Like, you know, they took me back to court, and, you know, I was released. And me and bro never mixed it up, none of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but that was... You know, just when I talk about, like, when any of us talk about unscathed, it's just like, nah, there were things that happened, bro. Like, you know, police shot at me one time. Mike Mangione is this cop. He ended up...
And pardon me, before you even go into that, because I definitely didn't mean to, like, offend you or something and say, like, you ain't been through, because we all got our stories and our traumas and everything that we went through. So.
And I didn't feel that. I didn't feel offended. It's just that I think that is the overall perception. If you know, if you don't have some visible marks to show, some
wounds,
you know what I mean, that you didn't suffer while you were out or whatever, you know. Yeah. But the fact is, I'm telling you, man, I really feel strongly about the mental shit that I went through. Like, you know what I mean? Like the shit that I saw that nobody else could see, you know?
And to that point, a lot of this stuff we normalize.
We have, yeah.
And so we could be going through something and really feeling something, but it's like you kind of almost like, oh, nah, toughen up. Like, you ain't really, nah, man, come on, you ain't. And it's like, nah, like, people have feelings. Like, this is not the shit that's supposed to be going on. Like, when you coming up and you 7 years old or you 10 years old and your schoolmate is getting killed or, you know what I mean? Anything like that. Like, that's traumatic shit.
That shit is, and we didn't know it. Like you said, we normalized it. And then we, you know, used it as validation. Like, nigga, I survived that. You know what I mean? So I'm here. You know, I'm amongst y'all. Like, whatever. Yeah, bro, that shit is hard, man. You go back and you look at some of the stuff you've seen and, like, what you just described, man, somebody dying. You know what I mean? Coming to all of that shit, man. All of that shit, bro. I remember going to school and motherfucking saying, you know, my man Tawan Conway had gotten killed. We taking the fucking high school proficiency test. This is that morning. I remember that morning coming in. I'm looking and people are sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm coming to school late. You know what I mean? Because that's how it was at the time. And I remember looking at, like, people's faces, like, you know, specifically Natisha, you know, a friend of mine. And I'm like, you know, and people like, yo, you ain't heard? And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, you know, Tawan got killed last night. And it's like,
damn.
Really? Like, this is somebody we done been since Ivy Hill, since 5 years old.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So all of that shit counts, man.
Yeah,
you know, the
does.
body takes, what they say, the body keeps score. And you don't know when or how, but it's there.
These things affect us too.
It's there, bro.
And that may mean how you may, you know, just deal with different people in society. You running into a person, you may lash out on this person. People don't even know why the hell they be doing certain things. It's, bro, you got all this pent up, everything inside of you, like, and we don't even know how to let it out, like, a lot of times. So, yeah, to your point, man, yeah, we all definitely have a story. We all have been through things, and it's good to try to speak and let things out. But, you know,
Therapeutic,
definitely. But I do I want to transition a little bit into like some of the things that you were doing in the acting space, in the directing space, in the music space, because you have a very different perspective when it comes to laying songs. Like there's a song that you have, and I'm not sure the title, but it's like Two Wives. Mm-hmm. And like you have the video and you got both of the, you know what I mean, women in there. And it's like, that's something that's very, very creative. You also have, you know, the song at the height of, you know, the Black Lives Matter, the Please Officer Listen, I Can Explain. Yeah. And like these songs, like they're not just a random verse over a dope beat and it's just like you spitting. Like these are like mini movies. And so like what goes into your thought process of creating songs like this? Because I'm gonna give you your props, man. Them shits is dope, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Hey, Hood, what's funny, I don't know if it's funny. I'll tell you. So you know how people like when we talk about it, because you're an artist and you understand this, right? Like it made, sometimes it doesn't seem challenging to us because we're in it. Like we you know, this is, we doing it. But when you look back at it and you're like, nah, that was pretty visionary, or, you know, because even with the joint you talked about, the polyamorous joint, like, and now that I'm seeing how much that subject
it's being pushed out there.
You know what I mean? And this was years ago, so
exactly.
I be fucking like, yo, I be telling myself like, Sal, you was on to something early, man. But with that piece, with any other piece, the Please Officer Listen, I Can Explain, you know, they all come. I want to say that mainly, they all come from a real space or a real thing that I've experienced. And when it comes down to creating a visual that is stimulating to the eye, to the mind, and also able to tell a story that is impactful to whoever the viewer may be, I try to think about, you know, a little bit of humor, a little bit of reality, like what is, you know, really going on, and what is the tone we're trying to set with this. So for the song Reversal of Fortune, where we talk about like what if black was white and white was black, right? What if all of those roles changed? And that's what it was about, role reversal, you know. How it was just giving the counterparts or the other races a glimpse into what it would feel like to be African American, to be black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to give you a glimpse of that, and also to push this understanding that we're all the same. You know what I mean? What hurts you hurts me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So imagine if we came to each other with love versus, you know, focusing on our differences, focusing, or always like, you know, focusing on, you know, trying to be better than the next person, or this, that, and the third. What could we find and what could we create in that peaceful space? And that's what that particular piece is about. But going into any project creatively, you know, just being very honest, it just happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It ain't no BS. I ain't trying to, I'm not no extra motherfucker, no shit. It just happens. I will be sitting there. If I listen to a track long enough, days will go by, whatever, I'll start seeing it. I'll just start seeing, I'll start hearing, I'll start feeling like,
okay.
You know what I mean? And then it's just like, boom, you know, it just happens, man. And I just try to make sure that whatever we put out 20 years later, I can have a way to stand by it. Like if a motherfucker say, yo, but look, he did this 20 years ago, and it's like, man, you don't even know what was happening back then. Like, let me tell you what was going on, you know?
And I think that is something that's very important, because you're not doing something for just like a catchy trend, but you're doing something that can exist, like you said, like years later into the future. Like somebody in, you know what I mean, 2157 could look on YouTube and find your video, and I'm quite sure there's going to be injustices going on somewhere, and it would be something that's relatable.
Yep.
Like, I feel like that's dope, man.
And that's it. You know what you just said, though, is really important to me. The fact that you can depend on there will be injustices happening, because that's just the nature of power, and even, I mean, as much as we like to praise democracy, but it all power is never relinquished voluntarily, right? People don't just give up power.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta do something to take it.
Yeah. So as long as you got that, you know, and that's the infrastructure of in the hierarchy of society where we live. You're right. There's always gonna be injustices, man. And that's a strange thing to know that you can depend on. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I'm depending that they gonna be on some bull junk. Like,
you can count on it.
It's sad, man. And it's, you know, it's a hopeful thing that we look to and hope for that there will be some sort of world peace in the future. But I mean,
we don't have the evidence.
History, exactly.
Yeah, right. We don't have the evidence that shows us that will happen. We have evidence that shows us that this thing will be recurring and continue. You know, and I don't know. I don't like to look at things in a pessimistic way, but
exactly,
this is what the evidence has shown. You know, so it's crazy. I think, you know, even then. Even in those years coming, we'll have that.
And so what I will say is I may have jumped the gun slightly because I do want to get into your artistic and creative side, but you're kind of also a student of the game. Back in, I would say, like the 96, 97 era, correct me if I'm wrong, if it started even before then, but you and some friends of yours, y'all had the video Clubhouse in which y'all was like on the scene, you know, maybe Skate 22, you know, maybe this party, maybe that event. Queen Latifah, she had something for her brother that passed away, pardon me, and you guys went to that and covered that. How did you get into that? And I kind of see that as being like a visionary type of thing, like at that time.
And Hood, that's what I was saying about like how everything adds up. So what happens with that? We doing hip hop, you know what I mean? We doing music. We had a talent show, Baton Grammar School in Elizabeth. Hosta Ripper Hardware, they were the features. I'm just remembering. I don't know. It's like you said, 9-7, whatever, something like that.
Okay.
They weren't in the talent show. Hardware were the guests, but we ended up winning the talent show portion of it.
Okay.
So now there were two options. The guy could do a music video for you. That was supposed to be it. It was supposed to be that you get a few free music video. I asked him if I could come along with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I was thinking, like, listen, the music video is cool, you know, but I would like to come along with you when you do these interviews, like, you know, and I see you, you know, doing this, that, and the third.
See you function,
Let me
like
just
absorb from
you.
Like,
I carry the bags.
Carry a crate, whatever.
I do everything, bro. And, you know, I'm a young man at the time, maybe 19, 20, so I can't remember. But he agreed. He was like, all right, cool. So I started carrying the bags and, you know, learning, you know, watching them. He would do the interviews at that time on my man Kurt Nice. Kurt Nice from, what is it called? Flavors of Hip Hop? Something like that. Damn, I can't remember. Shades of Hip Hop?
Okay.
I think it's Shades of Hip Hop. Kurt Nice was the person that was doing the interviews.
Okay.
I looked up. Things worked out one day. Kurt Nice couldn't make it. We were interviewing 3T. This is Michael Jackson's nephews. This like Tito, Jermaine, and somebody else.
Okay.
3T.
Yeah.
Out in one of the malls and stuff.
So that was your first time when you got thrown into the action.
Because it wasn't nobody there. Because, you know, Les Johnson, shout out Les Johnson. He's the creator of Video Clubhouse. Les Johnson and my brother Hakeem used to roll. You know, Hakeem was older than me, so he used to, you know, he would get opportunities to interview as well.
Yeah.
But this one, it all worked out. Nobody was there to do it. I did it.
Okay.
He was impressed with it. You know what I'm saying? He said, yo, you know, that was cool, you know. It was a little flavor. I had my own little style,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And then from that point, the ball started rolling. We started really doing it. So doing the interviews, like you said, we started going places. And if Kurt Nice wasn't there, Saji, you know, a lot of times those guys had other things going on, right?
Because they was promoting their own thing too as well.
Yeah, and I was available.
Okay.
Sal, we're going to interview Onyx. We're going to interview whoever, you know, because we was getting everybody at the time. Like, we're going to interview The Locks, Exhibit, In Store with Redman.
I saw the one time it was Ice-T there.
Ice-T.
And you ran down on him. That was, I'm like, That was fire.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on in the life I see right now, man?
I mean, it all happened because of hip-hop. Everybody knows I started out rapping in L.A., got action in New Jack City. Everybody out there supported me and parlayed that. I got a TV show right now, Players. Started a record label through Polygram called Corner Records. It'll be coming out this summer. Working on a film I wrote. I'm a direct. Everything. I'm just trying to do it all, and I owe it all to rap. So every chance I get, I try to come in and get down, you know, and get that love back, you know.
Everybody was there. That party was crazy. Busta, everybody was there. Like, I couldn't even name all the names. Just imagine Gangstar. You know how much love, how revered
Absolutely.
they are.
Yeah.
Right? So 98, they dropped a Moment of Truth album. And yeah, man, yeah, that was a crazy party. I ended up battling Sticky Fingers. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Man, Sticky Fingers ended up battling.
Okay. So that's when you was also making your name kind of like in industry circles as, you know, being this guy that's on the scene, but is also kind of pretty clever and can rap himself.
Yeah, yep.
So
yep. Yeah, and I think also that because you know, they were a little concerned about that, because one thing they didn't want is for you to do the interview and then challenge these guys in that way. Like, you know, that was
okay, let's keep it separate. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I don't think I was mature enough to understand that, because I want to rhyme, you know, I want to, yo, man, these are the dudes that's going, you know?
Exactly.
So I don't think I was mature enough to understand that you have to separate those things. And
yeah.
You know.
Especially when you're trying to build a platform, it's like it should be about celebrating that artist in that moment.
Yeah, yep.
You know what I mean? So I definitely can understand that.
And the confusion really came in with me trying to freestyle for the artist, right? Like, yo, check this out, you know what I mean? Like, even with Sticky, bro, and me and him, we laughed about this because I ended up battling him again in 2012.
Okay.
And this was like, we were on a movie set together, Black Van. But anyway, like, even with that, it wasn't me trying to, you know, shine on them dudes. It was just like, yo, I'm trying to show you I got skills or whatever.
Exactly.
And dudes was taking it like, nigga, we the only rappers right here. Like, you know what I mean? You sit down. Like,
yeah. And then they got that kind of aggressive little nature to them too. So it's like, oh, am I offended? Like, what's going on? Like,
yep.
So I mean, I definitely understand that, but you kind of casually just said you was on a movie set with Sticky, and so like, let's dive into that a little bit, because you have been in several movies. When I first came home, like around 2012, I think you had done, was it like the Sex Money movie?
Yeah.
You was in that one?
Yeah.
And I know that was like real big in the community. Yeah. I was actually looking online the other day. I can't find it anywhere. But
I got a copy of it on DVD.
Okay. Yeah. I know that was like real. That was the buzz when I came home around that time. That was like a real big movie. Yeah. And was that kind of like something that catapulted you into like wanting to create your own?
Yes, that's what I was hoping. Like, I didn't know where you was going with it, but yeah, because that's what it did to a certain degree. So the first movie that I could remember that was like hood, like, you know, like that was like from the neighborhood that we had done, like people you know had done, was man, I can't remember this movie. What was the name of it? Dirty Game.
Okay, yeah.
Dirty Game, right? I remember Dirty Game.
And that was a classic.
Yeah. And that's when you seeing faces of people that you know, like, yo, that's my man.
Exactly.
Like, so when the guys came along and they had that other film, you know, it was like an audition. I was unaware of how serious the gang activity was. These people were involved in it.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't know how deep they were involved in it. But needless to say, go to the audition happens, get the part, and as we're filming, and this is where that encouragement and inspiration came in, as we're filming, I'm seeing the simplicity of it. Like, yo, get the camera. All right, guys, we over here. This is what's happening. You're walking down the street. He says something to you. Action.
Yeah.
And it happened, right? So even while we're doing it, I'm like worried, like, how's this gonna look? But anyway, it was real simple. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing, and that's what was happening. So then when I finally saw the final version and I saw how many people received it so well,
yeah,
and I'm like, this shit was kind of easy. Like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, I could do this.
Yeah.
Like, I could do this. And that's what I said to myself. I said, yo, you can do this with a jewel. You can do this and drop something really impactful. And I remember feeling that way, like, yo, just imagine if you did this and you did something, you know, the way that you want to do.
But the message or the plot or something that you kind of want to do. Yeah.
And I came up with nicknames, which was about the 4 young people getting bullied in high school.
Yeah.
And it was all about, you know, the stop bullying movement and understanding that, you know what I mean? And you know, that wasn't the first movie I wrote, but that was the movie of the time that I was like feeling, you know? I was like, because I think I might have just come home from like the program, you know what I mean? Like had like, you know, the rehab, whatever, like dealing with like alcohol issues and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I saw a lot in that time, right? I saw a lot, man. I saw stories and heard stories from people who were facing addiction and all of that. Mm-hmm. So it was important to me, like, to discuss that, to discuss, you know, subject matter that would bring awareness to what is going on with our young people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The pressure, the peer pressures that they're going through, and you know, how all of those things are affecting our society. And it did well, too. You know, nicknames did really well out there.
Yeah, it did. And I also look at it from a standpoint of not just creativity-wise, you also had a handle on the business aspect, because I'm not going to say that you was the first person to do it, but like I actually saw your movie in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, and so I feel like that was like a real big thing, because it lets you know that, man, you can do something. Like a person that's watching, that's like, that may feel as though that they have a talent, or, you know what I mean, they can contribute in some sort of meaningful way to this art thing that we all love and participate in, that, man, I can do something, and there is another level that I can achieve with this. And so I think that was real important for me, just even seeing that. And, you know, there's been you, and there's been, you know, a lot of others like Bink, you know, there's also been Lonzo. There's been a lot of guys who have been, you know, on the forefront of that. But I definitely wanted to give you your flowers and say, like, man, like, you real inspirational and you real active, like, bro, as far as putting out the art. And that's real commendable, man.
Thank you, bro. And all of those guys you named, like, if, you know, coming up with under that same umbrella and coming up at that same time, you know, I really appreciate that, like being able to bounce ideas off of like Alonzo and some, you know, other people, and you know, to have the opportunity to have, you know how they say, steel sharpen steel. So we walking in, I'm watching yours, you watching mine, and we both learning from each other, you know. And in the interim between that Sex Money film and the nicknames, there was also a film that I did called Zoo, which kind of cemented the idea that this is very attainable. And I don't want to leave that out, because it was very instrumental in me going forward and knowing, you know, that I could do that. Now in Zoo, that was about the infamous Zoo Crew of Newark, you know what I'm saying? And we did that around 2012.
Okay.
And just, you know, real briefly, I got to meet, you know, Rock Davis, Itchy House at the time. They were, you know, that's who directed. And you had Jermaine Hopkins. He was, you know, the guy from Juice and Lean On Me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, working and talking about the Zoo Crew. And Tobias Trevelyan, Jay Parrish, like Tretch, you know, a lot of these people. Yeah, Do It All, Lords of the Underground, of course, you know what I mean? Do It All, Councilman Dupree Kelly. All of them people were there and were actually helping me hone my skills, you know what I mean? Like, yo, this is what you got to do, you know what I mean? Like, this is what you got to do, this, that, and the third. And just watching them, it really helped. So when you of it, you know, you really become it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're around the people who are really doing it, I think that really helps.
But so in that moment, while you were in there, you mentioned Rock Davis. He's doing so many great things out here right now with these cameras and these visuals, so shout out to him. But when you are around these guys and you're witnessing their process, like, did you know that you was like, let me soak all of this in right now, or can you not really appreciate it while you in the moment?
I don't know. I don't think I was able to. I've learned to do that now. Yeah. At the time, I was allowing the nervousness to run, like, yo, I want to do my best. Oh my God, I'm here. I'm doing this with that one.
Yeah.
And I don't think I understood. You have to take that moment and decide, okay, let's absorb this. Let's enjoy this. Let's appreciate it. Like, let's savor it. You know what I mean?
Be in the moment,
Be
actually.
in it. You know what I mean? And like, and also remembering that you are in this room because you belong in this room. Like, you ain't got to be all, you know what I mean? Don't start panicking and all of this. Oh, it's going, you know what I mean? Thinking about, like, overthinking about these negative outcomes. Nah, you here because you're supposed to be here now.
And I think that's a very impactful message that I want to give to everybody out here that's watching. When you get your opportunity and you've been working on something and you get your shot, like, you belong in that moment. You belong in that room. And so take that with a grain of salt, because it's like, yeah, you did everything up until that point in your life to be there, and you deserve that. So go ahead and act out, like, you know what I mean? Go ahead and represent and do what you need to do. You know what I mean? So that's a really, really important, impactful message that I definitely wanted to, you know, just kind of touch on, that you mentioned that. But yeah, man, it's been amazing to actually see your journey through the music, the acting, the directing, the writing. Man, what are some of the things that you have on the horizon that you're working on, like for the future to be worked on and stuff?
Yo, hey, Hood, also, you know, we got a little more. I just want to let you know, bro.
Yeah,
you know
I know.
Yeah. No. What I'm talking about is we could go for a little bit more, bro.
Okay.
If anything, you know, I'll let you know.
All right.
So I just want to talk about right now, like what's on the horizon is right now there's a film out called Love, Murder, Weed that's on Tubi, right?
Absolutely.
This is a film that I was blessed to be in. Again, you know, building these relationships. And that's another thing, man, about not damaging those relationships. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to be out here accepting any kind of treatment or you know, being mistreated.
Yeah.
But understand that you do want to protect these relationships because everything counts for whatever it's going to be for. So in this situation, Rock called me, man, and said, yo, I want you to audition for this film. I go, you know, and I audition, and it all works out, right? So we shot it like 2024, and you know, it just came out on Tubi, and it's really doing well. So I would like for people to check that out. The movie is called Love, Murder, Weed.
Love, Murder, Weed on Tubi.
Murder,
You can
Weed.
search it right now. It's actually like the #1 horror movie on
it
Tubi
was the
right
most
now
popular.
too, right?
Yep, most popular. You know, and you know, there's so many people involved, man. Shout out Kenneth Gifford, Reggie Mason. Reggie Mason wrote it. Kenneth, he directed it. What's my man named Jamon Lewis was the, you know, the camera operator. So many people. You got Sin Santana, Sexy Lexi, Whitney Cole, my man Vion Solomon. It's like so many people that are involved with that. So just shout out everybody in Love, Murder, Weed. I want y'all to check that out. You know what I mean? Prior to that, my boy Tobias Trevelyan hooked me up with a joint back in April of 23, I believe.
Okay.
And it was called First Lady of BMF. And it's on BET. You know what I mean? And when I say about like relationships, man, like bros will call you sometime and just be like, hey man, come with me. Cause that was he just said, come with me. He said, yo, come with me down here. I'm going down to shoot this movie. I go down there, Vivica Fox is directing it.
Okay.
And again, like that 3T, and that's what I mean about, bro, there's no coincidence. Like, you know, things are happening, man. Things are happening. All things are one. All things are written by the same hand. And I know a lot of people don't practice that. At least that's a philosophy that I've subscribed to because I see that, you know, these things happen like this. So I'm down there. We in Washington. We filming. Vivica sees me just hanging out, you know, just observing. Hey, I need somebody to play this role real quick. Hey, can we get him in wardrobe now? Did she do that because word is born? I'm not bullshit.
She just snatched you up.
Like, yo, I mean, I don't know what to say about that, bro. It's such a big story to me because the decision to go down there, I didn't have the cash. I was like, the train was about $280 something, whatever it was. Whatever it was a hardship on me. And I was like saying to myself, like, damn, you know, rent time, you know what I mean? You gotta and I made the decision to go in pursuit of passion, in pursuit of my legend and my dream or whatever. So what ends up happening is she ends up pulling me into the joint. Now I'm doing this scene with Tobias, Jess Hilarious, and I can't remember the other sister's name. She was like the lead. She was like playing Tanasia Welsh. And that's the first lady of BMF. That's the first lady of, Big Meech and all of them. Yeah. So anyway, we do the scene. After it's done or whatever, my hotel, check it out. Check out how it went, though. I'm going to make it real quick. So my hotel, I get to the hotel that night. It's roaches crawling everywhere. Crazy, bro. Yeah. Like, I'm very uncomfortable. I can't even sleep in this mug. So I go back to the people in the morning. I say, hey, man, this is what happened. I don't feel comfortable, whatever. I was only standing for like a day or so. Yeah. But I wanted a refund. When it all settled, the money that I got from because I didn't even know that was a paid situation. Okay. They sent me a check and everything for that. The money I got from that, the money I got back from the hotel, because the hotel ended up taking care of itself because they gave me a full refund, right? All the money I spent came back to the exact amount. Like if it was supposed to be $489.56, with the money they gave me, the money I got from the hotel, the shit came back to like $489.56. Wow. I was like, yo.
So you didn't spend anything?
Nothing. And the confirmation of knowing that this is how it happens when you pursue. Yeah. You know what I mean?
What you're called for.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Then that's how I felt, bro. I walked away from that experience like, yo, this is like, because I swear, bro, I'm stressing like, how the fuck am I have to pay this rent? Yeah. And I'm just getting this little bit of money. I ain't got no bread like that. Wow. And yo, that shit came back to the T. Like, it was amazing.
That's amazing, bro. And when you was going through, the different sections of that story, I was just thinking, like, when you called to do something, you got to do it.
Yeah. I agree with that.
A lot of times we have talent, we have things that we could be doing, but for whatever reason, we get in our own head and we don't do it. But that's just such a waste.
Yeah, bro.
Like, what I mean? I know that we all dealing with things that may be challenging, mental things, your kids.
Everything,
but
yeah.
You gotta try to put forth that effort because the things that we do and participate in is bigger than us. It's gonna be around after we're gone. Like
yeah. So Hood, real quick, I just wanna like what just talking about what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So there's a play that I've written. It's a living screenplay, and what that means is that it's a hybrid between a stage play and a screenplay. And it's called What's Left is Greater Than What's Left. Right? And what it talks about is what is left. That's the title. What is left is greater than what has left, right? That, what I mean? Sometimes we get so caught up in the past that we don't allow new things to enter into, our lives and into our minds.
Like not willing to accept change.
And not willing to accept change is one of the, biggest takeaways, if you ask me. You know what I mean? And be acceptance of what has happened already, right? Because there's really nothing you can do about it. What you gonna do? You
can't
go
back
back
is
and
already, it's done.
And it talks about like, what a lot of us don't talk about as men is heartbreak and healing from that, right? And healing from trauma. You know what I'm saying? It's told through the relationship that the guy's going through, but these are experiences that I had. In a certain period of time, maybe through 2016 and 2020 something, right? And just going through a breakup and all of the other things that this guy's going through. And when I say this guy, I mean it's based on my experiences, but that's the character. And long story short, man, he's a over 40-year-old guy still trying to pursue rap, and he's being told, yo, this is not the field for you.
Too old to do something else. That, ageism.
You know what I mean? He's dealing with, the internal conflict of working inside the jail system because he's a correction officer and, having the history of being assaulted by the police on several occasions, right? You know what I mean? So now he has this duality where it's like, he's played both sides of the fence. He's experienced, how police brutality can operate in the neighborhood, how police can abuse their authority. And then he's also been in a position to work with those who are abusing their authority and understanding that he's escaping it because he's part of it. You know what I mean? So
Damn.
Yeah. So
a lot of layers, man.
Yeah,
a lot of layers.
Yeah, it really is, though, bro. It really is, and at the same time, raising children, and at the same time, trying to pursue happiness in a loving, committed relationship. But what happens is, and this is what we talked about, like being able to accept that the past is the past. He's in one relationship that's not working out for him, and he finds somebody, and it seems to be working out, but he has his hand still in the past. You know what I mean? He's still in the past. He's still pursuing things, you know, from other relationships.
Yeah.
And it all comes down on him, and he, you know, he ends up in a dark place, and you know, visited by the ancestors, and gets some messages and has to lift himself up, man.
Okay.
You know, so it's this story. The reason is I'm so like I'm emphasizing it so passionate is because this is something that I think is unique to my experience, but that everyone can resonate. It will resonate with everyone. It's very relatable to everyone because we've all experienced something in this piece, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've experienced it. You've experienced heartbreak. You've experienced job loss and things of that nature. So
yeah, I definitely think that is it's an inspirational story that it must be like a emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you're writing it now, or you're actually
written.
So it's written now, but so are you like actually casting and everything now?
We've already it's a one-man joint. You know what I mean? So like I said, it's a living screenplay. So I've already shot the film, the visuals of it that I needed, right? And I would love for you to come through and cover it one day, man, when we perform it. I've performed it at where have I performed this piece? At the Cry Out Cave. I performed it at Express Media, and what I've done is I've had these workshop sessions where, you know, we actually just sat around with a group of people and everybody gave me feedback. This is what I think you should do. This is what I love this about it. This right here had me confused, or whatever they may say.
Yeah.
And last year I was gonna have it at NJ Pack, but when the time came, it wasn't. I didn't feel like it was ready. You know? And that was something that I kind of did. I learned a lot from that because I moved a little prematurely, right? I figured, let me set it up, and I'll just work on having it done by the time it's time. It didn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All kinds of bumps and bruises. That's why I say, you know, you don't know what's going to happen until you're actually working on something. Yeah. So now, you know, we're in a lot better space, and we almost there, man. Like, you know, I'm fine-tuning it. You know what I mean?
And so, if you had to say 2 months, 3 months, 6 months down the line, when would you be able to feel like, all right, this is when we're going to be in locations where people could get tickets and come check it out?
I'm going to take a very strange approach, or a very unconventional approach for me with this. To answer your question, the short answer is probably around October.
Okay.
All right? That's the short answer.
That's the short answer.
But what I'm also going to do is something that I've never done, and I'm going to be performing it outside, you know, just in different places, pop-ups, just asking people to, you know, as they walking by, just let them check it out and see what they think. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like,
that way you can hone it, perfect it.
Yep.
It's kind of like a comedian when they go on a roll with they set and
Yep.
they working out the kinks and what works, what doesn't work. So.
And I'm going to do that right on the streets, bro.
Yeah, that's
Word is bond.
Yo, that's a dope approach.
Yeah.
And see, I definitely feel like, you know, you have that mind state. People throw that word genius around a lot, but I really feel like even just to think about something from that standpoint of I'm about to just do this piece outside. Like I could be at a bus stop, or I could be walking through downtown Newark, and if enough people was around me in that moment, like let me work this out and give this to the pub. Like that's dope, man.
Word
and
is
it's also marketing.
Yeah, bro.
Because, you know what I mean, a person, you know, you definitely are, you know, a popular person throughout the city. And so a person could be like, man, I saw Sal performing his piece. Like, I want to go see that, like, when it actually comes out, because that was dope. So, like, yeah, that's fire, man.
Bro.
That's fire. What gave you that idea to just say, like, yo, I just want to perform?
So, for one, this is some shit, like, it's crazy, bro. Like, this is something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to just go into like a New York subway and perform poetry, music, whatever, right? Like, cause when I go by sometimes and we catching the train and you see the guy with the saxophone and he blowing and you see the people, you know, tipping the hat or whatever, there's a certain freedom that I've always recognized. Like, yo, like, I don't know what that person's situation is. I don't know what they're going home to. If there's a home to go to, I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a freedom in pouring out your gift. And if this person that's what that person feels, I've always kind of wanted to experience that. Like to just be that bold, man. Because sometimes I'm telling you, we let our fear dictate how we move. And bro, I've always wanted to be bold enough. And I've done it. Like I've done it and felt good afterwards that I was courageous enough to just stop in the middle of some shit and just start rhyming.
And do your thing.
You know what I mean? This is what God gave me. Let me share this with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Bop, 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 whatever it is.
And to that point, I definitely feel like it's one thing if you have a set up venue, tickets, people are coming in to patronize you as opposed to going in a space where they're not even asking for that. And then if you perform and give them something and God forbid they give you, or not forbid, but like they give you the standing ovation, like it must be so reaffirming for you that like, yo, like I'm on to something.
This is
Like,
yeah, fortune
dope,
favors
man.
the bold, bro.
That's dope, man.
And there was a song like, you know, I mean, this is just another piece that cemented it or helped. My man Brother Haas got a song called Die Empty. And we talk about, man, you know, not holding on to stuff, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Just to let it out.
Having that. Being courageous enough to say, yo, I got this.
Yeah.
This shit is divine.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when we was talking earlier about like the creative process and everything, like it took me a long time to understand how important it was to be able to receive like the information, wherever it's coming from, man, because like I know me and you, it may come easy to us because we rhyming and we find it, you know, we clever, we creative, but there's also this part of it, this component of it that's divinity, man. And it's just like being able to receive the signals and the cues and understand, yo, write that down. Like something hit your mind, like, you know, you're like, oh no, you gotta write that. Or you gotta save that. That ain't from that's from somewhere. That's from, you know, something out here, you know, in the universe that hit you with that. And don't take advantage of it, or don't take it for granted. I'm sorry, take advantage of it. Don't take it for granted. And don't be just sitting around like, you know, all of these ideas coming and you just
not using them.
Yeah, like what? Man, you better get up and go do the shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's a piece, man. Like that's
we get in our own way of our own greatness sometimes, man. But yeah, you definitely, you know, I see you on that trajectory, man. I definitely see that you willing to take these bold chances and, you know, put your art out there. Yeah. Because that's basically what it is. You know, you're putting your art out there and you can't dictate how it's received, but you do know that you putting your all into that creation. And I assume like you've been getting some pretty good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool, you know, that's really cool because, you know, also with that, it comes, you know, the criticism too. People not, you know, when a person is not how people want them to be, people get angry at them and they say, yo, you should have did this. I told you to do this.
So in your art, you feel like a person wants to dictate how you do like a scene or
according
a verse
to their vision,
or whatever?
According to their vision and their expectation. And it's usually like your homeboys, your friends, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them, and they're doing it from the heart. It's not like a person is being cruel.
Malice
there's no, you know,
maliciousness.
It's like usually like they can receive it the way that they expect it, right? So they're used to listening to whatever they're used to listening to or seeing whatever they're seeing. Now, when you come along, a lot of times what they could be offering is something that's really great. Like, yo, I think you should do this. I think you should have done that. But a lot of times when you make a choice and you say, I didn't do that because this is what I'm trying to do. A lot of times people don't agree. Like, all right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I told you what to do. And you're
That's
like, listen,
crazy.
man, just.
But then sometimes it's like, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it could be that like some of the other people, they're not even maximizing their own thoughts and visions and dreams, but they just got so much to correct you with yours and stuff. Yeah. And so, like you said, sometimes it's not coming from a bad place, but it's like, all right, bro, I got this. Like, I'm behind the wheel. I appreciate your help, but let me get this out the way I need to get this out. You know what I mean? Because people...
I'm telling you, bro, and what you just said is like, you know what I mean? Not even that they're not focusing on their own stuff or their own creativity, but they are still so influenced by what's already out there. Like, people don't really know how to receive new shit. Like, you know what I mean? If you're doing something that's
great point.
It's a like a fine line between that shit, because if you're doing something that's brand new, like that motherfuckers ain't never seen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's new to them, so they don't really know how this shit gonna fit in, right?
It's like, do we go towards it? Do we run away from it? Like, is this nice? Because then you got it's like the herd mentality. Like, if one person posts on it and it's fire online, and then it's like it's getting a whole bunch of steam from based off of online. But like you said, people don't know how to. It's like people fear what they don't know.
They fear what they don't know. Exactly. Yeah. Now you come. I imagine like people like Nelly and DMX and different people who were groundbreaking with their style when they came out. I imagine that people were telling them, man, that shit ain't gonna work. What you go out there
like
act
a joker dog? Growling on the mic, bro.
Like, and then you see the world respond to it because there's something in authenticity that everybody gravitates to, right? Like when you're authentic and you're walking in your authentic, genuine space and you being yourself and
being
people
yourself.
Can, you know what I mean? They know that. Like when you can feel that.
Exactly.
Like, no, this is just him being himself.
Like he just being himself.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Nah, people love that, man. Yeah. People love that, man. Like, you know, so because if you try to do some other shit and you trying to be, they're gonna be able to pick that right apart.
Exactly. You know when you being inauthentic, like you ain't in, like, bro, that ain't in you. Like you don't even speak like that, bro. Like what you doing? Yeah, you definitely right about that. And so I've been kind of like looking at a lot of these quote unquote the YouTube gurus, because I'm also trying to build out, you know, not only this channel. I have my own personal channel, Joe Pro 973, and I also have my business channel, Black Lens Digital. And so like I'm trying to build 3 channels out right now, and that's like one of the main key messages that I'm seeing is like, yo, just be your authentic self. Like be yourself, because everybody else is taken. Like you, like they're not gonna gravitate to you trying to put on a show for somebody. Just turn on the camera and be yourself. And so that's what I'm trying to, like, you know what I mean? Like just be natural and just be comfortable and be my authentic self and just be up here talking and stuff. And like I like to highlight people. That's what this channel was formed for, Uncontrolled Substance TV. It's a lot of people throughout the state of New Jersey that's doing things, and you kind of like definitely, not even kind of, you're at the forefront of that. And I just definitely wanted to bring you in here today and just like highlight you and just say, man, I see you, bro. Like,
bro, I appreciate it. And the ill thing is, hood, man, you go back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I mean when I say ain't no coincidence. Yeah. Like, bro. You know
Talk to me.
We met in the neighborhood. We met at the joint. You know what I mean? Like, however those things came about. Now, living over there in the homes over there, the townhouses over there on L Block. Yeah. Like, we just was neighbors, or, you know, you doing what you doing, I'm doing what I'm doing, walking through,
coming and
going,
coming and going.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Then, you know, whatever happens inside the joint where we met, boom, you come home, and it's like when we talk about authentic or authenticity, that's where I think the connection was at. It was like, you know, it ain't none of that. We weren't trying to I ain't trying to be super tough or no shit. You ain't trying to, you know, you doing what you do. We doing what we do for real. Yeah. And then boom, we start linking. Then we at the spots. Then we up at this video, that video. Then we doing this, then we doing that. Yeah. And it's like now to see like how you have transitioned from all of the outside street shit to being a father, like, you know what I mean? Being a husband and finding, you know, the gigs that'll keep you from having to do anything illegal, bro. Yeah. And then here we are. Like, when we talk about full circle, that's what I be seeing. Like,
it's definitely a full circle moment,
like,
man.
I say, yo, I'm not bullshitting. Ain't nothing coincidence. Like, bro, like, look at that. For me, it's just like, yo, this is evidence, bro. Yeah. Like, this is evidence. You know what I'm saying? 10 years ago, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, whenever that time was, who knew that we would be here in this time?
Exactly.
Like,
and what it would look like.
Yeah.
And like, I will say that a lot of the times when I was running around outside and stuff like that, I was into my passions, and I was into, my performative state, because, I was rapping heavy in that moment, and I honestly felt like I could have done something with that, but I don't necessarily feel like I had the discipline to, look, bro, you don't need to be doing this. You need to go to the studio. We need to put this money up. We need to shoot these videos. I wasn't on that type of time. Yeah. But through that process, I've seen what that looks like. I've seen people who have invested into themselves, and I've seen what they have become. And I'm rooting for them people, but I also look at myself like, look, bro, that's the blueprint for you. And so now, in this, where I reinvented myself and started to do this, is like, look, I'm going to take time to learn everything. I'm going to do what I need to do, even if nobody shows up. If you didn't show up today, and, pardon me for being a little bit late, you was on time, but if you didn't come in here today, I was going to turn this camera on, and I was going to talk. I was going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
something productive.
It's about the discipline. It's about the investing in yourself, because I look at it like a lot of people, they probably were me out there at that time. You're doing music, but you're half-ass doing it.
Yep, and you're still you're in and out.
One foot in, one foot out. And I could speak to that as being like, yo, go hard at your shit, man. If it's something out here that you want to do, whether it's basketball, it's acting, it's something in the arts, if you want to be a scientist, do that shit. You got to lock in, bro, because we only get one life. So, that's my definite message for everybody that may be coming after me, that, may have looked at me and seen me doing what I was doing to the transition now, though.
And it would be, whenever you get an opportunity, it would be very beneficial to people to understand where you came from to before you got here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just for them to understand the scope, like the full story, like, yo, like, this ain't no, you know what I mean? Like, listen, if I tell you some shit, it's because I know some shit, man. It ain't just me out here talking,
and
bro.
I'm definitely looking forward to getting that. I'm just waiting, I got my partner, he working on some things, but I definitely would like to get my story out, because, we all look at ourselves in high regard, but I honestly feel like my story could really help somebody, like, because I've been through some things. A lot of it's self-inflicted, but some things was just the circumstance that I was put into. So, I definitely want to be able to tell that and share that with the world,
Word, bro. I think that's necessary, man.
Absolutely.
I'm in full support of it. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah. I
think so, man. I think people need to, they can gain a lot from you.
Absolutely. But I also do want to touch bases on, there was some times, like you mentioned, like inside the spot, outside the spot, you always had the cameras and you was doing things, and, my partner and I, Taj Mahal, we was rapping, and I remember like the towers had just came down and we was on your platform, man. I got to get that footage. Maybe y'all can put it on the channel.
I hope I can have it for you for this one. Yo, that shit is real.
So, it just shows, the full circle nature of everything.
You know what? I probably could have bought that joint, man, and put this
and had it right up there playing. But hey, man, I'm doing a little something with the editing. So, if you get that to me by the time we get this one out for the people, I had that, in the background or something. But I definitely, appreciate you coming through, because, what I was getting to is like, it is such a full circle moment, because, you create, I create, and, the relationship that we established was like real organic. Yeah. You took me to a couple of video shoots with, I believe it was Reek the Kid and Do It All, Tretch and them. That was downtown on Horsley. Yep. Yeah, so I definitely appreciate that, and even the spot that's down there on Broad Street. Y'all used to be there, like, what was that? La Rouge Lounge? Yeah, so, I definitely appreciate you. Those was the caddy days. Yeah.
We went hard in that caddy.
That was the time, bro.
We went hard in that Cadillac, bro. That silver Cadillac. Yeah, that was good times.
Word is born. Those was really, really good times. But I'm glad that we both still here. We in our journey, and our journey is not over yet. Like, we still producing at a high level. So that's, you know what I mean? That's what this channel was all about, bro.
Word is
you know
born,
what I mean?
man. And yo, I just want to make sure I plug, man. There's a movie called Riders. It's a motorcycle film. My brothers put it out, man. Wakil and Shakil, the Stafford Bros.
Okay.
Bup and Wak. It's called Riders, and then they got a part 2 called Riders 2. These movies is hard, bro. Like I just need y'all to check these out.
So where could we find those at?
You can find them all on YouTube. You know what I mean? You can find all of the
Riders
stuff.
and Riders 2. Okay.
Nicknames, Piece of the Action, me and Mitty, we did that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and Mitty. And me and Mitty did Nicknames too.
So speaking to that though, with these movies that you wanted to promote, because I didn't want to cut you off while you promoting them. So we got Riders 2, we got Nicknames,
A Piece of the Action, and To Touch. To Touch, and you know, those are movies that we put out over the years.
Okay.
That, you know, a lot of people you can still benefit from, man. You know.
Yeah, they have that message.
Yeah.
You know, that's everlasting. Things that are really, really going on within the community that all people are dealing with. If it's not you, maybe you got a little cousin, or maybe you got a sister, or, you know, we all have these elements in these movies, and that's why I appreciate about your art, because it's stuff that really tugs at the strings. Like, you know what I mean? It's real life shit. It ain't just the glorified, we the super, hustlers, even though, that be a part of the life, but there's also another side of it too, and I definitely appreciate that, you know what I mean, with your art, bro.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Word is born. We got a lot of work to do still, man.
Definitely got a lot of work to do, because yes, it has been in, the Shaq Theater, but we want them things across theaters, across America, across the world. We trying to go global with this stuff, man, because at the end of the day, I feel like Newark, and not only just Newark, but Jersey as a whole, we have so much talent. And I won't go as far as to say that Jersey has been blackballed from things, but I feel like, we have to put ourselves in position to be put onto the forefront, because it's not just enough to do it for your homies. We got to do this for the world, because the stuff that we can do can impact the world. So that's the type of time I'm on.
Yeah, and that's why it's good for us, like, to collaborate. Like, I be looking at everybody. We all are pulling in different directions, but I always wonder what it looks like when we get to collaborate. Everybody put their pieces together and say, we pushing this. This is us.
Yeah.
We sticking together and we pushing it. Whatever it is, man. We pushing all this shit. And what does Jersey look like when all of the rappers and all of the artists and all of the entertainment people have decided that we're going to form this conglomerate where we're going to make sure that we all look out for each other.
All have each other's back, all push each other, all support each other. And I think that's a really, really key part of it, because I'm not just biased just to say that me and my homies, I want to see us win and that's it. Like, nah, bro, like, I don't even really got to know you. But if you from the section, if you from the town, like, and you doing something, I'm supporting that. You may be like, who is this joker? He done shared my shit. It's me, bro. I'm Joe Pro on social media. I'm sharing it. If I see it and I like it and you're doing something, I'm going to share that. It don't cost nothing for me. My platform ain't the biggest, but it don't cost nothing for me to share it and try to introduce it maybe to one other person that haven't seen it. And maybe that one other person to share to another person. And then, that's how we that's how we big each other up, man.
One teach one, bro.
You know what I mean? I don't see how, I understand, but a person can see you doing something and they can be maybe an associate of yours and a friend of yours, and they won't like or do anything or engage with it. Like, I'm just not like that, bro. Like, if I see you doing something, I'm trying to put it out there.
Yeah, man. That's a mentality that people have adopted to a certain degree, that if I share yours, empowering you makes me less empowered. And that's not the truth.
You
know what I mean?
I actually feel like that rises the whole.
Yeah.
Because more eyes will be looking at you, and then they're gonna see me too. Or even if they don't see me, they're gonna see you. And I'm gonna feel like, damn, he's somebody from, he made it. Like, that's gonna give me the extra fuel to be like, yo, I need to push. Yo, Sal did it. Like, yo, I can do it too. Like,
that's just how it is. Like, and that's what's so good about being surrounded by like people. Like, when I'm just, I'm talking about everybody, but like your Rock Davis, your Tretch, your Naughty by Nature, Do It All. Like, these are people that are tangible. Tobias Trevelyan and all of these people. Like, even like, Darius DK, man, like watching these guys on the internet making all of this noise, right? And they're right here, and you're seeing them get a certain level of success that is attainable now. So it really ain't no excuse. Those guys are putting in work. Where you at? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of work you putting in, man? You see it's happening. J.D. Williams, man. I saw J.D. Williams on BMF the other day.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize. I was like, he looked familiar. I'm like, is that J.D.? I mean, I really had to study it and look at the credits and everything, because I'm like, yo, he playing his ass off in this show.
And but like that is just like such a valid point, because yo, I'm seeing him do it. Yo, congratulations for you, bro. I can do it too. Like, you showing me a path.
That's what you're doing. That's exactly
like you showing me a path. Like, it's right there. It's lit up for me. Like the steps in that Michael Jackson video where he was walking. Like, you lighted the path for me. Like, you showing me. So yeah, man, that's what I want to do, man. I want to push people. I want to see greatness from where I'm at. You know what I mean? There are a lot of legacy acts in the city, and I appreciate those acts. But I also want to see some of these younger people and even some of the older people who are not as established. I want to see them come out here and be great. You know what I mean? That's basically what I'm into. That's what I like to do. And hey, man, I'm looking forward to trying to work. Was supposed to do something, put something down, and kind of get in something together. It's just that, like, nowadays the schedule is just so kind of herky jerky. But like, I would love to be able to be a part of something that you doing.
Yeah, we got to do it. We've been talking about, like you said, we've been talking about it for a minute. But we're gonna get the schedule worked out, because all of those things that we allow to make those excuses and shit
to
like
block
that,
us.
Yeah, nah.
Exactly.
We gotta
Fuck all that.
like,
we got to, because you want to do something, you're gonna do it. You're gonna make it happen.
Word is born. Like,
absolutely.
I'm like, man, fuck all that. We gonna do it. Absolutely. I'm gonna get my ass up and we gonna make it happen.
Absolutely, 1000%. Yeah, that's what's up. And so, you did shout out the movies. Is there anything else that you want to push before we wrap up and we get out of here? Anything like your social media handles?
Yeah, true. Yo, I'll be forgetting that.
Okay.
Yo, if you're watching this right now, you can reach me, Saladin Newark, on Facebook, most things. Even if you just Google it, a lot of stuff will come up. On Instagram, it's at Saladin Newark, the number 1. So it's Saladin Newark 1. I'm not really like on a lot of other stuff, but
platforms like the TikToks and all of that stuff.
But
okay.
I guess it will come, man. Like, eventually. But please check me out. Check out the stuff that we got going on, man. The team is ill. I got a lot of people that are part of what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And like I said, my younger brothers, Wakil, Shakil, Bup and Wak. My older brother Hawk, he's doing comedy. We always talk about Mitty Murdoch and what he's done in the community.
That's the bro, man. I reached out to him.
Yeah.
He's going to be up here soon. I got to just, work out the scheduling. But, yeah, man, definitely got to have bro in, because he got a lot to say. He's helping out with the youth and all of that, too. So I definitely want to get his perspective on, things and, promote him and put some shine on him as well.
Yeah, and I want you, when you get an opportunity, reach out to the bros, Bar Talk, Ray Gutter and them, they doing, we all coming up. And like what you just said about like seeing the younger people do it, or helping them to raise up, that's where it's at. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? Like, as much as we know that we've had our time and we're still working on whatever we're working on, but I feel like it's really equally important to get these younger people to get focused, man.
Absolutely.
Because that 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it don't usually
it don't end well. It don't really end well. You know what I mean? There's only a couple of ways that can end. But it's funny that you mentioned Bar Talk, because I have been seeing a lot of their stuff lately, and Ray
Gutter, yeah.
I don't have a personal relationship with him, but like his last 4 or 5 posts, like I just put them in my stories, and we've been communicating, through social media on Instagram and things of that nature. But I like what they doing.
Bro.
So why wouldn't I try to highlight that? Yeah, shout out to Bar Talk. Like them brothers, they just had Dave East, on their platform. So go ahead and check them out too, man. Yep. I want to see us all win, and that's the nature of it for me, man.
And listen, anybody who I may forget, like, I would love to mention everybody, you know what I'm saying? But, it's 2 things. It's hard to do it when you're under these lights and trying to remember names.
Yeah.
And another thing is it ain't enough time to, speak about everybody.
Exactly.
But, yo, man, everybody, y'all know who y'all are, man. It's much appreciation for what you do and what you contribute, man. H Squad Rebel Radio, man.
Absolutely.
My bro Zay and all of them. Reek the Kid, like we was talking about him earlier.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That movement, the bros out the mud and that whole Ill City movement's big stomp.
Absolutely. Bros, shout out to the bros.
Yeah, man. And I can probably go on for days and days or whatever, but if it's all my man Drift. Let me just say something about my man Drift. Real quick.
He was one of our first interviews on the platform too, so definitely shout out for Drift.
Yo, so I'm pumping the movie that I'm rocking, and I'm getting some traction. People messing with it.
Yeah.
And my boy Drift shared the joint. Man, shit went out the roof. Like, yo, my boy's hitting my inbox like, yo, that's you. Oh yeah, and I'm looking at it, the relationship directly to Drift's share, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, that's bro right there too, man. All the bros, man.
He definitely has, a good heart and an interesting perspective on how to make it and what we are doing or aren't doing to push ourselves and facilitate our own greatness. Yeah. So I definitely respect him. Real humble dude, real good dude.
Tobias Trevelyan, man, my man KZ, Haas the Ripper, Councilman Dupre Kelly, man, that bro really, really has, helped me out in so many different ways, man. You know what I mean? Laws of the Underground. Everybody, man. Everybody, man. North Newark, man. You know what I mean? Mass Confusion, man. Like Broadway, Grafton, Broadway and Halleck, K5 Halleck, Broadway and Halleck. We back to that again. I ain't doing shit with y'all niggas. Y'all about to rat again.
Okay.
Old school shit.
Okay. My God.
Man, much love to everybody, man. I can't name everybody. I'm struggling trying to think of, man. Much love, y'all.
Absolutely.
And Hood, thank you so much for having me.
Yo, thank you for coming, man. I really do appreciate it. We trying to build something. I know consistency is the only way, and togetherness is the only way that we can achieve what we are trying to achieve. My platform is your platform, so if you ever want to promote anything, if you ever got any products, I could come through, shoot something for you. Just let me know. I'm your guy, man. Word. No doubt. And with that being said, thank you guys for tapping in, tuning in. Like, share, comment below if you know any stories or any funny moments with Sal, or you had seen any of his productions. If you got any bit of value out of this, please consider subscribing.